2021's Eternals is without a doubt the single most bonkers film that Marvel Studios has ever produced. But is that a bad thing? See, art doesn't actually operate on the binary of thing good or thing bad. Rather, each film or television show that gets released is trying to achieve something different. Because of this, in order to properly evaluate a movie, you have to look at it through a number of different lenses. Today, we'll be examining 5 different aspects of Eternals and attempting to answer whether the film is a mess or masterpiece. I'm Dylan, and this is The Writer's Block. First, let's look at Eternals as an expansion pack for the MCU. The nearly 3-hour film is chock full of interesting characters with intriguing powers. The way the movie chooses to utilize each Eternal's unique ability set presents some of the most interesting depictions of superpowers we've gotten to date. On top of that, the way each member of the team complements the others, both in power set and in personality, is really refreshing. Up until now, we've had to wait for an Avengers film to see a team of heroes this size, but Eternals gives us all the superpower dynamics we love without waiting through all the buildup. There is absolutely a problem with how rapidly all these characters are introduced. I'll get to that later, but the relationships at the core of this team rival Guardians of the Galaxy in how much I'm engrossed by them. As a DLC character pack for the MCU, Eternals is absolutely a masterpiece. Speaking of the characters, holy cow did they stack this cast. They got some of the biggest names in Hollywood and overseas to sign on to this project. Because of that, the second aspect I want to examine is Eternals as a vehicle for good actors acting good. Starting with Gemma Chan, she arguably has the most likable on-screen presence of any actor I've ever seen. The audience just feels somewhat at ease anytime she's present, and I think that makes her a perfect choice for the character of Cersei. You really believe her as a benevolent force that would choose to defy what is essentially God.
There's only one God, man, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that.
And protect humanity above all else. Actors like Selma Hayek and Richard Madden deftly portray what a burden it would be to know that the planet they love is doomed. They ultimately take very different paths, but both clearly capture how dramatically that knowledge would shake one's worldview. Lastly, Angelina Jolie as Thena is my personal favorite Eternal. She's not given a lot of time to shine, but every moment she is on screen is delightful. Whether it's her gleeful lust for battle or mourning the loss of her partner, Jolie's performance is consistently enthralling. There are so many actors I don't have time to praise, which just speaks to how packed this ensemble is, but as a vehicle for good actors to act good, Eternals is certainly a masterpiece. I mentioned previously that Eternals is a bonkers film. I say this because it's essentially a meditation on whether or not humans owe loyalty to their creator, and if that creator's will should be taken as divine truth. If you know of a better descriptor for that than simply bonkers, go ahead and let me know. And let's take a look at how this movie holds up as an existential crisis. We find out about halfway through the film that the Eternals' real purpose is to ward off predators so intelligent life can flourish, only to have their energy farmed in order to hatch a baby Celestial. The Celestial will then create new stars and planets, allowing the Eternals to start the process all over again. It's a cold and callous cycle that has interesting parallels to nature's lack of bias in the real world. But the problem is that the specific way this movie explains its own rules ends up muddying what it's trying to say about our reality. The whole subplot about deviance calls a lot of the themes into question. Druig points out that the Eternals and deviants aren't all that different, and the lead deviant even says,
"We're just tools of a god built to kill."
But this all just culminates in Thena slicing him in half. All the nuance they were trying to build up is thrown out in this one moment. Suddenly, the messaging about free will and empathy becomes nonsensical. That's why Eternals as an existential crisis is
a big old mess.
However, even if the moral of the story isn't clear, this film's narrative is quite directly about killing God, which any connoisseur of fine art would know classifies it as an anime. Murdering deities aside, there's actually a lot of anime influences felt throughout the story. The dynamic of the teen, the distinctive powers, the color-coordinated outfits, all draw on what makes the genre so popular. But unfortunately, there isn't enough time given to flesh out these elements. It would be like if Dragon Ball Z tried to fit its first episode, last episode, and everything in between into 180 minutes. Eternals wants to have the interpersonal drama of a filler episode and the world-ending stakes of a finale, but neither element lands as intended due to the rushed nature of the story. That's why Eternals' top 5 anime betrayals is
a big old mess.
Finally, let's address Eternals as a feature-length film, and why the bloated nature of its narrative is such a problem. The biggest issue with Eternals is that it doesn't actually want to be a movie. Every aspect of the story, its rich characters, the complex lore, the epic scope, yearns to be explored as an ongoing TV show. The story that is being told is too dense for the format that it's in, but imagine if Eternals was the MCU's answer to Game of Thrones. They could have dedicated whole episodes to the flashbacks and given season-long arcs for each and every character. Imagine how much more devastating the loss of Gilgamesh or the murder of Ajax would have been if their setup was given more time. Think about how beloved a whole episode of the team just reminiscing would have been. There are dozens of moments of pure brilliance within Eternals, but those same moments could have been so much more. Director Chloe Zhao and everyone else who worked on the film clearly are inspired filmmakers. Regardless of if it gets a direct sequel, I'm immensely excited to see these characters again. The Eternals is arguably Marvel's most ambitious project to date, and while it has a great many flaws, I'm beyond thrilled that it exists. Overall, I think Marvel's Eternals is a beautiful, beautiful mess, and I am so thankful I got to witness it. I'm Dylan, and this has been The Writer's Block.